Welcome to Saturday. I am texting a friend who is visiting me today and asking him to do some shopping for me. And I'm moving very slow and a little bit quiet today, which I think is good. Although these days it is hard to tell what is good anymore, but happy to see everyone. Hi Greece, hi Vermont, hi Germany, hello Kazakhstan, hello California, Australia, awesome people, Trinidad. Dude, so cool. Every time everybody tells me where they're coming in from, it makes me really, I guess it's a form of happiness, but it feels fun and it feels bright and very much what I need these days, and I think we all need these days. A lot of thoughts have been going through my head in the past couple of weeks. This week has been an entire week of burnout, both emotionally, psychologically, philosophically, physically. The physical burnout is real this week. I am still trying to engage in all of the collective action I've been joining in on. I think I went through 2 or 3 days where I felt like it's not sustainable. Hi, Hawaii and Belgium and Canada. But, it made me think about how when I'm really physically out of shape and I go to the gym, especially after COVID, after I had COVID, I couldn't do much of anything for very long before feeling completely depleted. And I think, in a way, oh man, hello, reservation in Oklahoma. The inability to do all that you want to do in the moment can be very frustrating. You begin to feel hopeless about the objective world, and you begin to feel self-pitying and anger and frustration with yourself. That's the way I feel, at least. Hi, Tennessee. If I'm in burnout, why would I like to go live? I think, in a way, this has become my brand, so to speak, quote-unquote brand. And I'm not saying it in a way where I'm saying, like, I'm selling you anything, or at least consciously trying to sell you anything. Hi, Boston. I think I'm saying that this is my brand in terms of how my online presence has developed, especially since Mom passed away. In the middle of COVID, in the middle of the pandemic, we were all trapped at home, and we started producing videos for work when I still worked at Delish. And Budget Eats blew up because everybody was at home and they were cooking and they were living and they were feeling all sorts of feelings with very low morale and confusion, high, peaking hopelessness, and job uncertainties. So I grew my audience from that context, from a context where we were all collectively suffering in various ways, but nonetheless the whole world was kind of in deconstructing breakdown mode. To contextualize who my audience is, that is what we were born out of. Hi, Philippines. It is like a journal, but live. Hi, UK. And then, as that audience developed, I became known for that show, and I started going live here, and it became more personal. It became more revealing about what actually goes on mentally for me in terms of depression and anxiety and relationship dynamics and family dynamics and all of that. And then about a year and a half after I started going live on my own channel here, my mom passed away. And that was the beginning and the end of two eras in my life. And I think the moment mom passed away, I reached a certain breakdown threshold where I couldn't do anything except manage the end of her life affairs, transition into being responsible for my grandma, and dealing with my grief. And it's a lot, and we all go through it. I'm not saying I'm special or that I'm, God, the planes. I think this is universal. And I think it became clear to me that the only thing that I was capable of doing in that time, and maybe the most productive thing in whatever sense of the word that's being used in, for me to do at that time, was to be very transparent and honest about my grief. Because that was all I could do. And I didn't feel like disappearing from the audience I had built. So that became the content. I hate that word, but that did become the content that I gave everyone because that was all I was capable of producing in that time. And from that moment on, people reached out to me to say that they found consolation and solace and community and expression and connection in my grief. And it became clear to me in that moment that we all need an outlet to communally come together, to share the really hard parts of life that this society has told us to not concentrate on, to not focus on, to not pay any heed to. Because this society is telling us that we can only slow down as a treat to ourselves, and not slowing down as recognizing it as a part of our normal rhythms of life. What that kind of messaging, schooling, and imprisonment of lifestyle does to us over the long term is what we're seeing manifest now. When we can witness in almost real time a whole country being wiped out, a whole people being oppressed for decades, not just by one oppressor, but by the entire system that we've built up globally. And we're still arguing over who's right and who's wrong. And we're not paying attention to what it is that we've been told to believe in that is actually making us feel powerless. What does it mean when we are the units of society and we blame this society for doing all these evil things and for believing this messaging that we're powerless? I am going live continuously because I feel like we all feel this on some extent. I want to speak it out loud just in case someone else there is not speaking it out loud but feeling it inside and feeling guilt and shame and pressure and stress and anxiety and all of the things that contribute to decline in health in all various aspects. To let them know that there's someone else out there feeling it. And it makes me feel better to know that you're also feeling it, because connection is the first thing that we need to build confidence in ourselves and to build solidarity together so that we can move beyond the prison. Like, this is an invisible prison because we're all in it and we're all drowning in it. Why is it that we are feeling at this level, for the first time, oppression that countries like Palestine have been undergoing for decades, if not centuries, if not their entire history, being exploited by larger empirical powers? I'm using all these words that are very tinged politically, but at the center of it, politics isn't everything, because politics is a human creation. So I keep going to these things um, that engage me collectively, even if it's just writing a postcard together with a group of 5 people, even if we're wasting money on stamps and resources to send these postcards out to politicians who clearly don't give a fuck. Because this, even though it seems like a useless gesture, is the building block of exercising myself up to the point where I believe more and more in the power of collective action and the power of the individual coming together and building power that way. Building movement, building belief in ourselves. This is something that we've completely been deprived of because it's what our current capitalism system requires to keep running, is to make us believe that we're powerless. Yesterday when I was gathering with the few people to make postcards and to make tax strike educational zines, you know, it was talked about how really we're doing all of these things over a number of weeks, months, burning out, and we're seeing very little effect because today the ceasefire that wasn't really a ceasefire has been lifted, and so bombing has resumed again. That really all it would take to make the government do something else to change the course of history is to get every single person on board to strike for a week. If we shut everything down for a week, even if we shut everything down for 4 days, can you imagine what the impacts of that would be? How much power that has? So it feels like an impossible task, and I believe it to be an impossible task in the now. But if it's impossible now, maybe we can build towards it starting now. Because I have experienced how difficult it was to unionize just 500 people. So never mind a whole country or the whole world, but you start somewhere. And it's going to take years, but you start somewhere. So I'm trying to start somewhere. I'm trying to start now. In fact, I think I have been starting since we unionized at Hearst. Those 3 years of unionization were hard. I burnt out. I hated everyone at a certain point because I hated how nobody felt as motivated as the core group of 20 people were to come together to tell management that what they were doing was unacceptable. But slowly over time, and including me getting fired, I think it opened up a lot of people's eyes about what management is all about the discrepancy between what they say and what they do, about how empty their principles and values are when they try to be good but actually do not good. And in that learning process, even though we didn't succeed and excel in all the ways that we had hoped for, even though we didn't get all the goals, we got somewhere. That's movement. That's exercise. That experience of unionizing, of burning out, of still pushing through a contract even after I got fired, even getting fired, that was movement. That was me showing all of us, myself, what we're capable of doing. We're not going to aim for perfection and know that it's going to happen now. We're going to aim for movement, and we're going to move. That is an accomplishable goal. So I'm talking to all these friends who are worried about me burning out, worried about my mental health, worried about my physical health, telling me, hey, there's nothing we can do about this, so take care of yourself. Fuck it! I am taking care of myself. Burning out is a part of taking care of myself, because burning out is a part of exercising a part of me that society has told us all to not do, but make us do for its own purposes. How many people do you know burn out at work day after day, getting paid shit, having little health insurance? You're all burning out. What are you burning out for is the question. I have friends who work jobs they hate, that cause them mental distress, that enable them to lose sleep and disable them from living their lives in a contented way. That is perpetuating this narrative that we can't do anything. So people are going on hunger strikes now. I think a woman just set herself on fire in Atlanta yesterday in critical condition. Apparently wrapped herself in the Palestinian flag and set herself on fire as a form of protest. The 3 students who got shot, the 3 Palestinian students who got shot, I think one of them made a statement about how, this is just, he's just one person suffering the extension of oppression that his people have known for decades and have been forced to live under for decades, and still enduring. Who are we trying to moderate? I don't really know anymore. But anyway, that's why I'm going live. Any more questions? Every single question will lead into a very long, extracted, ranty explanation. But I haven't eaten in 36 hours. I'm not trying to virtue signal, even though I'm sure some of us feel like I am. Even part of me feel like I am, but I've just reached the stage of burnout where I open an email and they tell me to donate, and I donate, and they tell me to join a hunger strike pledge, and I join it. So I joined it and I carried through with it. And there's a lot of reasons for why I carried through with it. One is I signed the pledge. 2 is I have absolutely no appetite, which is maybe like the 4th or 5th time it's happened in my entire life. Hi, Northern California. And 3 is it's a form of exercise in 2 ways. One way is I was really curious about what happens to the body and the mind when you don't have food for over a day. The UN has statistics on how the population of Gaza only has enough food to meet 7% of their minimum caloric necessities. That, I calculated it, 7% of my daily intake of calories is 1 apple. So I was curious about the effects it would have on my body, on my mentality. And I was also curious about experiencing just a sliver of what people undergoing constant bombardment might be feeling. And it puts into perspective for me a little bit closer. It's just like the tiniest bit of approximation, because honestly, I'm still housed. I still have all of these amenities and needs met. But to think that people are surviving on that little resources and still being made to trek who God knows how many miles to migrate somewhere where they might be shot on the way, where they might not actually be safe, it puts me closer to the sheer combination of disbelief and awe and sorrow. I don't know why we deleted KFC. I didn't even see that. Chill, folks, chill. It's okay. I can take it. I don't feel anything anymore. But it's been interesting. I've noticed several things happening. Like, I move slower. My mind is almost like translucent. My body this morning felt like a floating sack of water, centralized by achy bones. Um, and I felt here and not here and dreamlike. I forgot to flush the toilet today. Like, I went to see grandma and I came back and I looked down and I was like, oh, that's my pee in the toilet. Like, I don't even remember not flushing. God knows what else I've done that I didn't realize. I've been making a lot more typos in my posts and in my texts to friends. The body goes. And to know that Palestinians are still holding on is awesome, awe-inspiring. I'm in awe. Like, not in the usual sense of awesome that we use, but just pure, like, disbelief that they can still do this. Because I only went through a day of this. They've been doing it their whole lifetimes. So we can actually do things. Because they're showing us how much the human body and spirit and mind and heart can endure. And I'm going to end my fast today because, yes, I do have to live to see another day so that I can continue doing what I'm doing. But this was an exercise for me. To see what it feels, to see the changes that happen in the body and the mind, to see what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of currently, but also to test the waters. And I want us to all consider the narrative of we can't do anything, so we just have to live our lives the way we've always lived our lives. It doesn't feel exciting to me to live my life the way I've always lived my life. I don't know if that's a life well lived. I mean, maybe if you're really cushy and you love everything about your life, okay, I can see that. But for me, for someone who's always felt quite melancholic and alienated and not belonging to any particular space at all, believing the power that we all might have inside us, that we can speak into existence and act on collectively, is inspiring for me, and it gives me hope. And this is the kind of hope that I want to nurture, and this is the kind of hope that I want to sustain me. So I get it when friends and viewers who care tell me to take it easy. And I am taking it easy when I feel like taking it easy. But I also know that if I don't push my boundaries a little bit from what other people tell me to stay within, and from what I've told myself to stay within, that change can't happen. I think there has to be a shift in thinking about what liberation means for you. Whether or not we all realize where we are on the liberated spectrum is not something that I think has been in the mainstream discussions. We all think of this as the Palestinian cause or the Palestinian issue, as media likes to put it, or problem even. But these violence, deprivation, and cruelty is being performed under the same system that we are all still living under. So going with the ebb and flow of my emotions, I think it's time for us to drink something. For me to drink something, at least. The first thing I'm gonna drink is the dumpling water that's left over from cooking Grandma's dumplings this morning. Y'all, after God knows how long, I think she might finally be tiring of dumplings, because when I asked her what to bring her tomorrow, she said maybe not dumplings. But that just means I have to think about what else to cook her. If you don't like my drama and emotions, you can leave, right? Why are you coming? I don't get it, people. I'm not holding you hostage here. And I don't know what makes you think your words and side eye is gonna make me change a fuck. I think the amount of trolls in the chat today is very obvious. They see this shit, they don't wanna think about it, they don't wanna think about their own situations, they don't wanna change their perspective on the world because it's hard and it makes you feel bad at first. You like to watch woke Americans because they're in an aquarium. Okay, that's cool. Welcome to the zoo. You're in Europe? Which part of Europe? Let's talk. Let's talk, mana. Here, I'll indulge the troll. Let's indulge the troll. Let's just see what they have to say. I'm curious. And let's take a moment and step back and not react immediately. Let's just see what they have to say. And we're just going to observe. Because in the same way that you're viewing this as a zoo, I can view you as a zoo too. So please, take the stage. I'm ready. The homeless problem in San Fran, I don't live there, but probably bad. What's up? Wow. So you don't have content. You just like to throw invisible tomatoes at us all? Is that what's happening? If you can, if you would like to give us a more philosophical, political, socioeconomical view on these problems, please do. But otherwise, I will actually ban you because you're wasting our time. I'm giving you the stage, and I hope that you can teach us something about your perspective of watching woke Americans from Europe. And I'm trying to engage you in conversation, but if you're actually just here to talk shit, then my benefit of the doubt is running pretty low. So one last chance to give us something of substance, please. Or else get the fuck out. We good? You done? I'll give you a minute. I'm gonna keep drinking my dumpling water. Everybody, vitamin break. All right, whichever mod wants to mute, have at it. Every single fucking comment that comes onto this channel and tells me to stick to cooking, fuck you. I'm not your monkey. I am, but only when I want to be your monkey. And right now, I don't want to be your monkey. And you don't pay me. And I don't need your money. So go the fuck away. There's a reason why I can't be in media anymore, because this is the kind of shit that you have to be subservient to. Cater to your audience. cater to the algorithms, cater to the advertisers, cater to everybody, because once you don't cater to them, you lose your entire life sustenance. That, folks, is what we call slavery in the time of capitalism. When you are muted, silenced, punished, fired, blacklisted for speaking out against genocide, against oppression, against the violation of human rights. We are pawns because we have been told to be this way. But waking up and actually being awake, not just woke, but awake, means that you learn that you can actually exercise some power into existence. The power that you were born with, the power that you currently have, not alone, not ever as an individual, but together. Martin Luther King Jr. had power because he had a following. He needed the people behind him to carry that momentum. He was inspiring, but he still had collective power with him. We all need collective power. So find your communities, find the people that you can do postcards with, even if it seems dumb, even if it seems ineffective, even if it seems like it's not making a dent, do something. Because this is a form of exercise, and this will show you what it means to be in community with other people who also want to be in community to affect change. You can't do it alone. Dumpling water tastes a little bit comforting, like congee. It doesn't have the pure sweetness of rice grains because it's wheat flour based, and it has a little bit of like scallion and pork vibes in there, so it's slightly savory, slightly plainly sweet, very comforting, and it just feels like almost a diluted milky tea going down your gullet. Tell me, what is slavery? I think modes of enslavement have changed over the years. There are currently very many different modes of slavery going on. But let's define slavery. I'm glad you called me out on it. Let's discuss it. I'm open. Okay? I don't believe Black people are the only people who have been enslaved in all of history. But in our recent consciousness, yes, definitely, especially as a hybrid American, I realized that this country was founded on enslavement. That was the pure economic drive, is exploitation of an entire people, of very many people, to build this country for no money. I recognize that. Do you not think that slavery still exists to this day? There is definitely economic slavery and slavery of the body and slavery of the mind, all of which I think descendants of enslaved people and the enslaved people themselves have endured and survived, or not survived, and still carry with them. I'm not Black, so I can't speak to that. But I do feel like we have various degrees of slavery going on still. There is an enslavement of the mind. There is an enslavement of our spirit. There is an enslavement of the fact that we believe that we can't change anything. Colonization has run through history until now, And liberation is a constant life struggle. But is there joy in the struggle? Can we cultivate the feeling of belief in the power of the struggle? That's what I'm wondering right now. Please, by all means, call me out. I actually, truly, genuinely believe it when I say that I appreciate you in calling me out. Not what the fuck Mana is doing, but do call me out if you think I'm talking up my own asshole. I'm willing to think about these things because thinking about these things is also a form of exercise. It brings me out of my comfort zone. It makes me see my own limitations, and maybe it can help me broaden my perspective, viewpoints, and horizons of beliefs. So, anybody can ban Mana at any time. I'm curious though, because I think it adds to the dialogue for now. Because they're embarrassing themselves, in my view. Good morning. Oh man, you joined a very good life. A very depressing, charged, sad, enervated live. We have a lot of trolls today, Holden. I'm glad you're here because you've really entertained us with your trolling in the past. We have some very unentertaining trolls currently in the chat. So maybe this could just be a chaotic Saturday stream. My friend is coming in 2 hours, and I wanted to bake something, not for us to eat necessarily, but I have another friend visiting tomorrow, so I just wanted to do something. I wanted to go live. I wanted to share whatever the fuck's been happening in my life, and I want to kind of see where everyone's feeling about Palestine, maybe have space to share what they've been doing so that we can see that the movement is still very much alive. I was up until like 1:30 a.m. last night inputting events happening in real life today, December 2nd, all over the United States. There are international events that I could not help map because there's just overwhelmingly so many events going on today. People are still coming out for the Palestinian cause because people are still being murdered in Palestine. And it is exhausting, but also inspiring. And I am thankful that I am still here to witness all of it, both the struggle and the continued resistance. That's kind of offensive, actually. That's kind of anti-Semitic, what you just said, Holden. Are you saying that New York City has a lot of Jewish people? I mean, not all Jewish people are Zionists. I have very, very many Jewish friends who are anti-Zionists. So let's think about what we're saying before we say it. Sometimes. Hello, Saudi Arabia. I want to peel some apples and maybe make some applesauce or an apple pie. I haven't decided yet. I want to eat the skins of the apples to continue breaking my fast. And I want to take it gentle and slowly today, and I just wanted a chance to be here because I think this is a form of community as real as seeing someone within 2 feet of me. Yeah. Good call out. We're gonna call you out on that, Holden. I hope you didn't mean that genuinely, and even if you didn't mean it genuinely, I hope maybe don't say that again, because right now Islamic phobia and anti-Semitism are both on the rise because violence begets violence. And we are not attacking people based on their identities. We're fighting the powers that allow us to commit violence against each other. And more violence is not the answer to solving that. Oh, poor Holden. Come back to us. Come back to us in 5 minutes. And don't say shit like that again, please. My fast was a petition that I signed for a 1-day fast. I don't really know if it has any material impact. I'm pretty certain it doesn't, but I did it for various reasons that I will not repeat again because I spent 15 minutes talking about it already. If I missed any questions earlier when I was ranting and crying, feel free to repeat them again. I'm paying more attention to the comments now than before. Yeah, a lot of trolls today, huh? That's okay. I mean, if you feel like commenting on my butt, I guess you can. It's not the worst thing that you could say, but also not sure about getting that from a stranger is kind of weird, you know? Like, I'm not always opposed to being complimented on my butt, but you're a stranger. Stranger danger. My internal training is telling me to stranger danger alert. Closeness has to be developed in case certain people don't get that. It's not that like all blanket statement, this is bad, this is good. It's context, context, context. Convoy of Hope. I have no idea what that is. There are so many organizations. We have a troll conspiracy that is all one person? That's fascinating. Will all the trolls speak up simultaneously in 20 seconds, please? If you're still present and here with us. Oh, although I think Holden has been timed out, but okay, one troll, cool. Didn't fall from heaven, doesn't exist. We are both in heaven and hell simultaneously right now. Okay, here's the thing. If I feel like wearing leggings because they're comfy and just thick and thin enough for me to feel temp controlled, I'm not gonna stop wearing them because people sexually harass me about them. I'm going to weigh the context of whether or not it's safe for me to speak out in terms of what time of day it is, how isolated I am, if there's other people present to witness this interaction, and how I'm feeling already emotionally and physically. I'm going to do a whole check-in within myself and around myself before I decide how to respond. Sometimes it's just walking away and ignoring them. Sometimes it's giving them a death glare. Sometimes it's telling them that that's not welcome. I normally don't try to say fuck you unless I'm in a really bad space mentally where I'm on like a hairline trigger of sorts. But I think as people who get subjected to this kind of harassment, we gotta start speaking out. Because the more we hide away, yes, there's always a risk of you being attacked even more violently. But if the culture is to shut up and take it, we are supporting that dynamic. So that's also where learning self-defense comes into play, equipping yourself with the ability to fight back against offenses like that. And some people really just don't know that they're doing something wrong, so it's all about education. And I'm not saying that to be condescending, but some people come from different cultures with different practices and different gender roles. The internet is less so, but in real life, I've definitely gotten calls that I did not feel good about. So just some thoughts on that topic. If you feel safe enough, definitely speak out, because you're not only speaking out against that particular instance happening to you, you're speaking out against a whole culture of treating certain people a certain way. This applies not only in terms of gender dynamics, race dynamics, class dynamics, it also applies in terms of genocide. And that is what we mean about liberation being for everyone. Liberation on all fronts. Well, cool. We've solved our troll conspiracy to some degree, to the utmost degree that we can certify it. Hi, Malta. Eliza, what is a woo-mow? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Teach us something new. Listen, okay, to RK1991's comment, we are in the public space. My body is in the public space. I think people are going to look at it if they want to look at it, and I can't really stop that. That comes down to personal senses of courtesy, but once they act beyond just observation of my space and my body and whatever else I'm doing, that's where confrontation and problematic dynamics arise. As a person who walks around New York City a lot and constantly takes street photos that might or might not include other people's faces, I struggled this in the earlier years of social media where, people gave me dirty looks because we weren't used to being photographed by strangers. But I think our society has evolved past a point where we realize that we are all just bodies in a space. I'm not gonna go up to someone and put my camera in their face. I would ask for their permission before I do that. But there is a certain amount of allowance of freedom of action when you're not invading their space like that. And I think there is a boundary to be drawn, and maybe, especially in terms of like relationship dynamics, you definitely have to verbally communicate very clearly about that. But in a physical space, I think if I'm more than 10 feet away from you, if I'm taking a photo of a public space and you're in it, then you're in it. That's my stance. Maybe you don't agree with that stance. I'm totally okay with you not agreeing with that stance, but that's my stance. Mao, so 50 cents? Is that? But yeah, good topics. It's giving us topics. But be a better troll, I agree with. If you're gonna troll, I wanna see some innovation in the trolling. Happy Saturday, KCS. We're never gonna get rid of trolls from the internet, guys. So we gotta switch up our tactics, you know? Like, we're not gonna have creepy men stop staring at our butts, or catcall us, or try to like talk to us when we clearly don't want to talk to them. But we might be able to brainstorm up of different ways to engage or disengage that might be more useful than just butting heads with methods that we know don't work and aren't effective in terms of changing the cultural tide. So I'm just trying this out. Again, it's another exercise and another experiment. It might go horribly or it might be enlightening. What happens when you engage trolls in a different way than just telling them to go the fuck away or shut up? What happens when you don't resist them the way they're used to being resisted? All I'm saying is, across the board, fuck up the dynamic if you don't like it. Think about strategically how to fuck it up that might be interesting to see different outcomes from, but fuck it up nonetheless. I'm just washing my apples here. Shout out to everyone. You're gonna have a very long list of people to shout out, but cool, shout out. Okay. Are we ready for a bolding? I just want to do some kind of intermission pause where we all kind of sink into our bodies and also evaporate out of our bodies and just let our sensory intake shut off and let the external material, sounds and colors and thoughts pass through us. And we're gonna breathe, and then we're gonna peel some apples and eat them. We're gonna let go of the thoughts of how fucked everything is. Yes, that includes America. You're not wrong. We're going to zone into this plane passing. I feel a lot of tension. I feel my hands and my arms kind of shaking on a microscopic level of nerves and hunger and losing physical control. I feel a lot of tension in my stomach, contraction in my thorax. I feel the hair being pulled on top of my head from my half ponytail thing. I'm listening to the quality of my voice. And I'm gonna let go of judging what I think of it right now. There is a slight ache in my knee, my right knee more than my left knee. My feet feel grounded in my slippers, and my slippers don't feel grounded to the ground, but here's where I'm at. And we're gonna do some bouldings. Gonna take a moment to relax my shoulders. I feel all of my nerves kind of raining down like a mist from my hips down to my knees, through my calves, my ankles, or transferring some of the pain from my knees, and I feel a little bit of a sinking. It feels both heavy and grounding. All of the noise that I'm hearing is turning into sounds, and these sounds are taking on a little bit more of an accepting, pleasant note. They feel comforting rather than aggravating. They feel like they're a part of my environment. I feel like I'm a part of my environment. I feel a sort of light disappearing, which is relaxing. I am reading the comments, and my reactions to them are maybe less than a quarter of what they were 15 minutes ago. It does feel nice to feel the boundaries of my body melting into no boundaries. One more round. Thank you, everyone. I don't know if everybody feels a little bit different. Maybe a little bit lighter. Maybe a little bit softer. Maybe a little bit brighter. Or maybe a little bit dimmer. But whatever changes you feel, I hope you allow yourself to exist in them and to let them be with you for a moment or two longer. before continuing on our way. Come closer. I have not had proper weed in about a week. I've been smoking my keef that's collected over the last God knows how long. It might be 4 years worth of keef in there because I feel like Aaron got me that grinder maybe slightly before the pandemic or maybe during the pandemic. I'm not actually sure because I feel like once the pandemic happened, we didn't really go out. So I don't know why he would have bought me one. And I also don't know where I would have gotten weed. So it might have been before the pandemic. But anyway, really old vintage collection of keef. And I've been smoking it mixed in with burlap and barrel mint. It's actually a really nice smoke, y'all. It feels refreshing. It feels lifting. It awakens me as it calms me down. The keef hits differently. I think it's very irregular because there's a lot of different strains in that collection, but overall, I'm enjoying that experience. So if you roll your own joints, try weed with mint. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to eating this peel. I feel like I've gotten to the point of hunger where I no longer desire food, but I desire sensory of textures. I am more tuned into the smells of the food. And this is a part of my exercise too. Nothing is altruistically done. I have to acknowledge that I didn't do the fast because I believed it to be an act of solidarity as much as I believed it to be an act of exercise. And right now I'm enjoying this exercise. That was a really nice piece of apple peel. Quite tart, a little bit sweet, very floral, very watery and crunchy and juicy. This one is more acidic. It's making me wince a little bit. The sweeter one was not from the farmer's market, and the last bite that I had is from the farmer's market. It's a little bit lemony. It's a little bit more citrusy, less floral and more fruity. And the peel, as I get to the end of the peel, has this quality of almost fruit leather. It has that kind of dehydrated, aged flavor profile. It tastes a little bit pruny and raisiny. This one tastes a little mute. It's a little duller. It's also from the farmer's market. It's a little more solid and subtle and not as sweet, but it almost feels like the kind of sweetness that you get from a Japanese sweet potato, and less of a bright, acidic, fresh sweet. It's more of an earthier sweet. These are Granny Smiths from Not the Farmer's Market. These are probably going to be very plasticky peels, but I still will enjoy them nonetheless. I think when people tell me to do self-care, these lives are a form of self-care. They are enabling me to speak, to think, not just within my own head, but to speak them outward and have some sort of response to my thoughts. They give me the space to do something with my hands. They give me the space to taste things and to experience senses that I often neglect to engage when I'm not in front of an invisible audience. And so this is self-care, and I feel gratitude always that people watch and witness and engage in my self-care routines. And there are also moments of self-care that I do that I don't live stream. So know that I am doing my best to be aware of my needs. Not that I can always meet them, but just like collective action and trying to affect change on a much larger scale, it all comes down to being willing to practice continuously and to exercise and to test our own boundaries and limits. And not every time will be a success, but I think I just have to try things sometimes, you know? There's always a risk to trying things, but at a certain point we just have to decide if the risk is worth taking. I think I want to cook down the apples. And I think I want to use the Le Creuset. Let's use our Le Creuset, y'all. I reserved a little bit of butter for this purpose. Of cooking down apples. And we're going to slice and add the crunchier apples first. We're also going to smell our cutting board and check for garlicky and onioniness. Let's go with this side. I have been noticing that apples actually cause me a little bit of digestive issues. So I wonder if cooking them down will actually help that aspect. What is the best way everybody likes to core their apples? I believe it about the apple skins, actually. It makes sense that the apple skins would be the culprit, you know? Because they're so much more fibrous than everything else. I mean, we're still breaking my fast. I know you can't smell it, but it smells good. I think Aaron is good. I just saw him last night. I went to Crown Heights in Brooklyn to do some postcarding with some new friends, and I was passing through Manhattan on my way back because we still don't have a train line connecting that part of Brooklyn to Queens. So I went to see him and Fred, and he seems to be doing okay. He's concerned about me, I think, as most of my friends are, but we're doing the best we can, y'all. All of us are. Even if it doesn't feel like it. try a bite of this apple. Nice and lemony with a little bit of bitterness. I don't know what it is about supermarket apples, but they're just never quite that good. You know? Can't ever seem to compete with farmers market apples. That one's a little mealy, so I'm going to hold on adding the rest of it until later. Now I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt. Maybe like 2 tablespoons of sugar. I don't have a food dehydrator. Nope. We're cooking down some apples for potential pie or just for eating. I'm just in the mood to cook some fruit. I also have some sweet potato still. Maybe we can make a cake. I don't know, guys. Excuse me. Did you hear that burp? That was my body thanking me for food. Let's go in with a little cinnamon. We're gonna go in with a little bit of fresh ginger. And then I think once the apples all start to just soften around the edges, we can pull them. Some of them are already turning into mush, which is fine because I don't know about y'all. Some people have very feverish attitudes about mixed textures in their apple pie. Like some people like it crunchy, some people like it really soft, some people like it in between. I honestly don't give a fuck. Time to choose your choice. Do we do aluminum on the pie or glass on the pie? Oh man, I need to, oh. Feeling a little lightheaded. Look at all these debates. I'm gonna go grab my washcloth. I'm actually going to experiment a little bit because I prefer to bake with a blind bake crust so that I could get the crust nice and crispy first. And I'm gonna see which pie pan fits better into the other so that I can try to maybe avoid using parchment to line the bake weights. How did you faint yesterday at Kroger? Were you also fasting? Damn, I really wish I had cornstarch, which I don't, because I really like my apple pies with a little bit of cornstarch. I did order cornstarch, it's just not here yet, I don't think. So instead of cornstarch, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of powdered sugar. Sometimes there's a little bit of cornstarch in there, sometimes not. I bought the natural stuff, so maybe there's no cornstarch in here. Sucks, but it is what it is. We can also sprinkle a little flour in here. Here is my beautiful whole wheat rye mix. We have 2 of these, 1 of these. Okay, we're gonna bake it in the glass. That's the executive decision. And we're going to lay the weights with the aluminum. And hopefully some of the natural pectin in the apples will help it set too, since we're par cooking them. But I don't actually know if I'm gonna make a sweet potato pie or an apple pie. I only have enough pie crust for 1 pie though. So think about it, y'all. Think about it and maybe vote on it. Shin ramen for breakfast sounds fucking good, Jason. I approve. This is the first time I'm doing this, but I'm gonna try rolling with oat flour. I really don't feel like using all-purpose in this. I just want to see what a whole wheat crust looks like. So that's what we're doing. And I'm going to go ahead and freeze this pie dish for now. I'm going to double roll this pie dough for extra strength and extra puffiness. Some people don't recommend this as it works the gluten more, but I really like the way that it layers and crispifies. So that's what we're doing. Not going to roll it out too far because I'm going to double it over and kind of do a rough lamination of sorts. So we're going to do a 1 fold and a 2 folds for a letter fold. Smooth that out a little bit. Starting to stick. Okay. feel weird when strangers try to chat you up on public transportation? Because that just happened to me last night. I'm very curious what everybody likes to do when that kind of thing happens to them. Do you engage? Do you move away? Do you not talk at all? Always have something to read. I think he might have been trying to like flirt with me, but I was definitely not into it. How it happened, here's the setup. I was on the train, it was really late, I was fasting, so I was very low energy. This dude comes through asking for money, right? He sounds pretty desperate. He looks pretty desperate. I don't want to sound judgy, but he looked pretty desperate. Like, clothing, not great, hair unkempt, shoes, not new, very much not a good place, I think. If I were in that place, I would be pretty bad, in pretty bad shape. And nobody was really responding to him because it was late on the train, so he got increasingly agitated that nobody was responding to him, and so I gave him money. And the guy who sat next to me saw me give him money, and he was using that, I guess, as a way to engage me, and he said, "You're a good person," and he said, "I would too, but I don't have money on me," and I was like, okay. And then from there, you know, he started asking me about where I'm from, and I said that's a hard question to answer, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I think he realized that, you know, that can be a very touchy question to start conversations with absolute strangers with. And then he said that his mom was Chinese and that he's Cuban Chinese, and I was like, that's cool. And then it just went on from there, and he wouldn't stop talking to me for most of my ride, basically. And I was just like, I wasn't sensing any danger or discomfort, mostly just kind of tired and listening to him, not really talking back, but I would acknowledge him sometimes with a nod or an okay or that's cool. But I'm curious what y'all would have done in that scenario. Okay, this dough is getting a little bit warm on me because it's pretty overheated in my apartment, even though it's December. I'm going to pop it back in the freezer and let it cool off so that the butter doesn't all melt. There's just a matter of like oversharing, but it was a very interesting talk. I wouldn't even call it a conversation, but he basically started commenting still about the fact that I gave that dude money. He was just like, you know, I grew up not here, and I was like, oh, did you grow up in Cuba? And he was like, no, I grew up in Miami, and I was like, oh, how long have you been here? And he said, since 1989, and I said, oh, okay, cool. That was when I was born. And he was like, yeah, people in New York, they're just, you know, they get into fights all the time. And then he launched into the story about somebody getting into a fight and getting stabbed, and I was like, things just happen, you know, you never know. And he's like, yeah, that's why you gotta treat everyone with kindness. And I was like, sure. And then it devolved into him talking to people as a way of like being friendly, and I was like, And then like the part where my brain really kind of woke up was when he was like, yeah, I talk to women of all backgrounds. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, maybe that's a problem. And he was like, you know, some people don't feel comfortable. I get it, but, you know, like, I'm comfortable with you. And I was like, okay, well, I'm tired. And I then started descending into shutting him down, basically, because I saw that he pulled the gender card. He was not my type, for sure. Guys, what I think I'm gonna do with this is actually an apple crisp. And I'm gonna make a sweet potato pie. Does that sound good to you? Because that sounds good to me. Do we think the apples will fit in here? Apple crisp. All right, let's think about what to, well, okay, here's the thing. I used up all of my butter, and I told my friend to bring butter, but I don't have butter anymore. So can we make an apple crisp with olive oil, or is that weird? I'm gonna use some almond meal to add some fat. I'm gonna eat another strip of apple peel. Butter only, I don't have butter. I don't have butter for the crisp. I have almost everything else for the crisp, but no butter. So nice. I don't have coconut oil either. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really understocked. I wish I could use peanut butter. I also don't have peanut butter. I have heavy cream, but I don't think that would make a good crisp topping. How about this, guys? We toast up some nuts and we make a nut butter. And we make a crisp topping with nut butter. How's that? True. I don't know if I'm energetic and capable and desirous enough of making my own butter right now. I have some shelf-stable heavy cream. I don't think that shit really whips well. as a homosexual, you approve of toasting nuts, and as an asexual, I also approve the toasting of nuts. Toast these nuts for all. God, I'm such a mess. Such a mess. So what we're gonna do is turn on the oven to 350 and we're gonna toast these nuts. That's right, I ate all of my other nuts. This is all I have left. Let's toast some peanuts too. The reason why I want to transfer the apples out of this pot is because I want to cook down the sweet potatoes a little more. What goes into a sweet potato pie filling? Does anybody have a trusted recipe they like? Yum. Oh yeah, I need to wait on my friend's eggs then to actually bake this pie. So we'll just bake the pie crust then. guessing nutmeg is a must, yes? One cup sugar, 2 eggs, 1 stick of, whoa! 1 stick of butter, girl. So that's in there. I don't know. I also don't have butter, guys. 1 cup of sugar also sounds disastrously sweet to me, but all I can do is be a sacrilege, I guess. That's all I can do. Okay, heavy cream. The cream, June, the cream. Yes, okay, fine, guys. Jesus Christ. Y'all are like... Please make butter from it, girl. Okay, fine. Fine, fine. I'm not making butter with it. What I'm gonna do is make the crumble topping with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of heavy whipping cream, and then put some whipping cream in the sweet potato pie filling. I don't feel like getting whipped cream splattered and buttermilk splattered all over my countertops. I just don't have the energy for that. We gotta know our limits, and my limits right now are here. First of all, before we go crazy with the sugar, let's just taste it. There's already a lot of natural sugars in here, right? So like, okay. A little bit of maple syrup. Because treat yourselves. A little bit of Chinese red sugar because culture. Not too much. And then we're gonna go in with more sugar. I would say that was like a 1/4 cup. Let's just taste it first. Let's just taste it first. I'm not trying to be authentic here, whatever that means. I'm just trying to make some pie. So crisp topping. Do we put flour in there or just oats? What's everyone's take on what belongs in a crisp topping? Would it be funny if I used oat flour with oats? Okay, here's another question. Do I immersion blend this to get it as smooth as possible, or do I leave it wholesomely raw? It's got like a little bit of a slight chunk and fiber to it. What do we think? It's so split. It's so split. It's so split. Okay. Y'all are making this so hard. Democracy doesn't work. This is why. Nobody has a similar vision. All right, this is what we came up against when we were unionizing too, is that people couldn't agree on like some of the smaller demands, and we would just stagnate. At a certain point, you have to be willing to sacrifice some of your own personal visions for the greater collective good. And I think that's where people get disgruntled, because we all feel very entitled to, well, if I'm putting in so much effort for this so-called collective movement, then why am I not getting my piece of the pie? No pun intended. Well, guys, this is why it's important to actually think about what solidarity means to you first, and why you think you matter more than all of us. Everything is connected. Here's my question to you. Do we put Baileys in here? Do we put Baileys in here? Siobhan, you're the only no. I guess it's a democracy after all. We're being canceled right now, all of us. Good. Right now, we are seeing Siobhan demonstrate extreme, exemplary action for solidarity. We thank you, Siobhan, for your sacrifices. Okay, now we taste the end. The daily required minimum carb intake is 130 grams for brain function. Yeah, that's about one apple, I guess. I don't know if all of it is carbs, though. Interlocking justice. Are you teaching the class or are you participating in the class? That sounds awesome. That's a weird-ass pie. It's not too sweet though, but we do have to cook off some of the alcohol. I don't think I went, oh, there's no vanilla. Right. Rightio then. So let's cook off some of the alcohol first. and then we'll add in the cream, and we'll wait on the eggs. And in the meantime, I'm gonna roll out the pie dough. Again, I've overcommitted so much. Shall we take a look? Okay. Even in making desserts for myself, somehow I end up overcommitting. You are losing battery power. So I'm gonna plug you in here in my non-existent counter space. I do wish there was a plug over there. There is no plug over there. There is only a plug over here. Ta-da. All right, I'm gonna let that sweet potato mixture cool, then we'll add in the whipped cream and the vanilla, and then we're gonna immersion blend it. And then eggs. Can you see? Maybe. How thick do we like our pie crusts? Do we have opinions on that too? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So gluten-free crusts or low-gluten crusts are a bitch to work with sometimes. We might have to peel this together and patch it once it makes its way into the pie dish because it's not rolling out smoothly right now. So I did a trifold here. I'm gonna transfer it over, move the pie dish, and then unfold over the pie dish. I don't know if you saw that. Sorry for the poor angle. Then we'll trim from here. Yep, definitely always re-roll the pie crust into something else, for surezies. I'm tucking the edges underneath. Before we shape. I'm starting to smell the peanuts, so I think it's time to go check on our nuts soon. Very soon. Okay, it's not a perfect pie crust, but I think it'll do. And we're going to poke it with a forky before freezing it again for a little bit. Just a little bit. Poking it so that it doesn't bubble up when we bake the crust too much. I like to go pretty fucking vigorous with the pokes. And it's a good thing that we're waiting for my friend for the eggs, because I just realized that actually I need to egg wash the crust to make it look pretty. Prettier. Okay. We might actually have enough dough to make a couple of mini pies. Oven for now. The nuts are toasted. I'm gonna let them finish toasting. I don't want to heat up the kitchen too much, but I do want to see if I have enough pie dishes. Just one? I thought I had more. What happened to my other pie dish? Huh. IDK. Okay, maybe we don't make this pie dough. Maybe we freeze the pie dough. So I've wrapped the pie dough. What I like to do is give it a good roll so that it flattens to meet the plastic. get as much air out as possible, and then get it as flat as possible within the confines of the plastic. And that way it'll be easier to roll out the next time you use it. There's a little bit of pie dough on this. Nice. Moving my computer off, moving this in. What do we think so far? Sorry, there's no good angle for me here. I've got too many things going on at once. My pet peeve is letting dishes stack up while I'm cooking. So I always have to do a round of dishes and clear up countertops before moving on. I think this actually comes from my restaurant days. We were always told to clean as you go, and I can't really describe how life-changing it has been for me, but it is a part of my operational norm now. Clean as you go, always. Prevents a lot of heartache. Water break. Have y'all been drinking? Disconnecting you from the power source for a little while we make our nut butter. This is probably, yeah, this is way too hot for me to grind right now. But right now, we can do a little bit of salt. And think about what else should go into this crisp. Oats, for sure. Maybe a little bit of oat flour, a little bit of the cream, a little bit of the olive oil, Actually, maybe no oval if we're doing almonds, huh? Because that's pretty fatty already. Do we want spices in here? I like a lot of oats. It's way too hot. What do we do in the meantime? Relax, I guess. We don't always have to be doing something. I think we should pee though. Have you guys peed recently? I'm gonna go pee. Bye. Real question. Do you think we're gonna get in trouble with the algorithm and YouTube? Or viewers, more trolls? If we put this wheat paste poster up in this kitchen? I was thinking about the back wall over there. Do we want it? It's very blank right now. If we put it here, you will see it in almost every single live. Jason, that's why we divorced you. Don't do it. What I'm gonna do to preserve the poster is I'm gonna affix clear tape on the corners first, so that when I tape the corners to the wall and when time comes for me to take it down for whatever reason, it won't rip the poster. So I think this is the perfect activity for us to do while we wait for our nuts to cool. Yep. It's too plain? Well, we can color it. We can paint it. We can paint it. Algorithm! That's fun. I've never heard it referred to as that. I like it, Shalon. I like it. Do you think we're ever gonna get to the point in time where people aren't gonna be afraid of the consequences of speaking up? More of them? What would it take for us to get there? Oh, but the drama that comes is not my fault. The drama that comes is caused by others. I don't see how putting up a poster in my own kitchen does anything. So if people want to fight, I don't exactly know what they're fighting. I guess they just want to pick a fight. Why should I be the one who's responsible for starting the fight when I'm just putting up a poster expressing my beliefs? If America truly be the land of the free and the home of the brave, isn't it time we make that the truth rather than the lie? Okay, so here's the thing. I don't ever put things up in a straight line, so this is gonna be rough. I'm glad I have you there. The same poster is also on my window already, so we'll see. We'll see what this country is made of. I'm also in the city of Queens. Queens is known for immigrants. I don't know what people be thinking if they live in a pocket of immigrants and can't stand the sight of this poster. Cricket is a social construct, you're so right. Is it cricket though? I think we did okay. Yeah, I was talking to a friend who was carrying around a Palestinian flag to do one of our actions, and he was just walking, and an absolute stranger just like came up to him and said some really mean shit. What you gonna do? This is the smallest batch of almond butter I've ever made. Boop, boop. I'm gonna add some sugar in here. Ready for noise? Ready for noise? stopping it before we burn out. Just to see. There is a little bit of butter forming, but it's still mostly flour. Oops, just sprinkled sugar all over my floor that I just vacuumed today because a friend is coming over and didn't want to seem like a slob, but I am a slob. Scraping down the sides to get the flours incorporated. I think since this mixer will be dirty, we can make some peanut butter after with our roasted peanuts. You know, 2 birds with 1 stone. Guys, I'm so tired. Did you guys hear about the AI program that they're using, that Israel is using to pinpoint places to bomb? That article was bonkers. Yeah, I think the magazine is, or the newspaper, I saw it online, so I don't know what kind of publication it is, if it's not just digital, but it is a Israeli publication, actually. I think it's called 987 or 978, or one of those common permutations of those numbers. But Israel basically has a AI program whose name I can't recall right now, but it translates to the gospel. Google that shit. It's insane. I posted so many screenshots of it yesterday on my Instagram. Aaron actually posted that because Hassan Piker posted it, I think. That article goes beyond just talking about the AI program, but also looks into the history of how we've come to this point where we don't really bat an eye at bombing so many civilians. Very informative, has a historical context that doesn't go all the way back, but goes much deeper than shit like New York Times does. So if you're interested, check it. Oh yeah. The program is called Hasbara, I think. Thank you for that. Or Hapsura. One of those. Close enough. But yeah, it translates to the gospel, which is insane. Detour because this almond butter is not turning into butter, so we're just gonna mix it. Cool. Sorry, it's too much noise for me right now. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with this much noise. It's like warm almond meal. Then I'll mix it with oats Both. Yummy. It's like lightly sweetened. I love it. Quick oats and old-fashioned oats. All oats are good in my book. Is that enough crumble? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Oh, and we're also gonna go in with some oat flour. That's right. Oats galore. This feels good. This looks good. Maybe a little bit more instant oats. Never ever go wrong with too many oats. Well, you can. Definitely, I've been there. But okay. A little touch of red sugar. Guys, we're basically making a granola here, is what I've realized, because I'm gonna hit you with a little bit of sugar and oil and honey, and cream is not oatmeal, I guess, but, or cream is not granola, I guess, but it's basically like a granola crumble topping. Red sugar is a form of Chinese sugar that's much less processed, so it has a much stronger molasses taste than American brown sugar does, but it's basically like the Chinese version of brown sugar, I would say. I don't think it's palatable in larger quantities. It kind of has a bitter medicinal taste the way that molasses has, so just in case I need the cream, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of milk. The cream is also chilling in the freezer right now, so I'm not sure if it's ready. But this is starting to come together at least, so. Nice. I like this texture. All right, we need to taste. Delicious. Wow. hasn't snowed in New York yet. Alright, let's bake, y'all. We're gonna bake the pie crust, we're gonna bake this, and then I have to sign off. So I can clean my house a little bit before my friend gets here. That's really good. I hope it tastes as good when it comes out of the oven. I want to break my wrist, but I'm putting the cast iron underneath to catch any overflow juices. I'm gonna bake at 375. I think it'll work best for the pie crust and the crumble. And let's weigh down more shit. I just realized I really done a mistake by crimping this, because now I'm not going to be able to fit this pie dish over. I actually have to use parchment. Miscalculation, it happens. Here we have my baking beans. Oh, I have a parchment in here. Whoops. Look at me forgetting all the genius that I have within. All right, let's reuse. Tiny mung beans. I like to push up the parchment against the curves of the pie so that it's flush. Like so. And always over a sheet tray so that the grease does not drip into the floor of your oven, causing disastrous heartbreaks. Okay, let's vote. Do we make peanut butter or do I make myself a nice little protein smoothie so that we can clean this after using it a second time for something else? Because I don't feel like cleaning this Vitamix after just one use. So many smoothies. Okay. You guys are so kind, so thoughtful. Your dog is watching me? Cutie. What's your doggy's name? Your cat is also watching. Guys, you have no idea how happy I am when I hear about people's pets watching me. Truly, honestly, the best thing. Okay, into this blender with some almond flour, we're going in with about 2 tablespoons of oats. We're gonna throw in all of these apple peels because I don't want to deal with them. We're going in with this milk that's opened. We're gonna rinse it out for water addition. Let's think about, do we want coffee protein powder or vanilla protein powder? Ooh, dangerous. Clementine is such a cute name. My friend used to have a cat named Clementine. All right, we're gonna slip this pie crust into the oven. We're gonna set a timer for about 20 minutes, I think. And then, back to the smoothie. Vanilla, I agree. Okay. Well, y'all get to peel this with me, because this is unopened. Let's see how good their packaging is. Not very. They really, this kind of packaging annoys me so much, guys. Why? Why? And it's like you can't find the scoop until you're like halfway done with the shake, usually. So I'm gonna give up and I'm gonna use my oatmeal scoop. What else? Cinnamon? Let's cinnamon everything today. And maybe some ice. It's gonna be a noisy smoothie, I'm sorry. Finally, some chia. Ready? Noise. Noise alert. Mute yourselves. Promising, promising, promising. Oh, it smells like fresh apples. It actually smells so nice. Couple of extra ice cubes in there to keep it cold. You burning? I smell burning. What a delightful stream. We're going on 3 hours, 18%. You tired yet? What's everyone doing this weekend? The apple peel smells so good. Apple peel smoothies. Can someone make this trend on TikTok and shout out me so then people find me on YouTube and watch this? Oh my God, my hand-eye coordination. There. Group effort, collective action. Oh, it tastes pretty good. It's so fresh. Oh, I want to show you something. Hold on. So yesterday we made all these postcards. I had to leave before we finished writing all of them, but I basically have ceasefire And oh, I got all the ceasefires. We also had some defunds. But basically, if you guys have any copy you want me to write to, who are these addressed to? Oh, they're blank. I can address them to any politician. They're all stamped. We pooled some money to buy stamps. But if you have any ideas of which politicians y'all want me to write to and what messages y'all want me to write to, maybe leave it in the permanent comments below or Instagram, DM me, and I'm happy to send out some postcards on behalf of all of our voices. Again, not sure if postcards are gonna do the trick, but might as well try it. It's an exercise. Think of it as an exercise. Think of what you want to say to these people who are very much in it. We are all complicit to some degree, but they are the ones actively doing their jobs to be complicit on purpose. So this is an exercise in thinking about what it is we want to say to them. This is a way for us to kind of develop our own thoughts and frameworks as we're speaking them out loud. And I think it's important for us to keep in mind that not all collective action will have immediate effects. A lot of it will take time to build. This extends beyond Palestine. This extends before Palestine. It extends to things that will come after this particular struggle and this particular point in time. So it's not that we're not making change happen with our actions. It's more so that we're learning how to do it forever. So postcards we made, actually. People printed out some of these very distressing war images, and we bought cardstock and we trimmed them and cut them and glued them. We pooled money for stamps or brought stamps that we already had, and we just made some postcards. And we actually wrote on some postcards, and we all took a little bit to send out every day. So we actually not only looked up the addresses, well, not we, but one person in the group took the initiative to look up the addresses of their private residences, so that instead of going to their offices where staffers might receive, maybe they might receive it at their house. I don't know if they live at their house, but it's just an alternative thing to think about if you're planning on writing physical mail. I do feel the energy coming back into my legs, although they are still very tired. Lots to think about, lots to digest. With every single action, I think, comes a degree of change in ourselves. Let's put in vanilla extract into the sweet potato mix before I forget. Do you do a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon? I feel like more is more, right? More is more. I think that was 1 tablespoon. We're gonna mix this in and we're gonna taste it, and I can only imagine how good it's gonna be with some cream and eggs in the mix. Although I might just use up grandma's milk, TBH, you know, because I have a lot of it. Do we all feel good? Are we all waiting for the apple bake? Because that might take a while. I feel bad when I'm not actively entertaining people. Is that the capitalist in me? Is that the capitalist training in me? Cheers. What's everyone else eating for brunch times? It's 1:29. Do you remember where my phone went? I'm struggling. Found it. I'm also learning a lot in my tax strike group. First of all, we talked with a very old white gentleman who's been pretty much in the war tax resistance organization, New England chapter, since the Vietnam War. And one of the first things that he said was, tax resistance is not an effective direct action to take, but it is like an entryway into getting people interested in collective action. It's more so of once you get people on board with a tax strike, what further direct actions can you get them to take? So it's like a lot of movements and collective action is about organizing. It's about planning. It's about having like a vision for what the ultimate effect you want is and how to harness it gradually, because people need to step up into these levels. You can't just say we need to defund war and stop all fighting, because that's unachievable. That's why we're all stuck in this stage of, well, I can't do anything, so I'm going to give up. The step to do is basically when you exercise, like physically, you have to take it 10 minutes at a time first, work it up to 20 minutes, work it up to half an hour, work your way up gradually. It's not like all of us can go to the gym and deadlift 100 pounds on the first day if we've never practiced that before. So, learning a lot of things, thinking about things in a lot of different ways. Whew. I'm also speaking to a very leftist tax accountant. And I'm learning a lot about loopholes that richer people might do to reduce their taxes, which it's like thinking about the impact of tax striking for working class people versus like 10 millionaires. The ratio of taxes that's being paid or not paid, drastically different. And this tax accountant just said, so much room to get inventive with financial vehicles, but that's a larger group endeavor. Can't be individual unless you're already a double-digit millionaire. It's cool. It's cool to think about these things. Even if you can't put it into action, it's just cool to think about the possibilities. So I'm trying to make this kind of learning be invigorating for me. I've been writing on my Instagram that solidarity begins with education. And I think there's one reason why, you know, we've all been so poorly educated or miseducated, why our schooling is consistently underfunded. It begins with your start in life, because that's when your frameworks are being formed. If you don't think about possibilities, then you'll get into the habit of feeling like this is all you can do and these are all your options. There are only these options. Maybe there's a lot more options that we haven't been told we have. How many actions? How many actions are possible? Sorry, I didn't give you a noise warning. I just needed to clean that. Whew. And you know what? It's okay to be confused. It's okay. But just try to keep learning. And maybe find other people who might have answers. We have the internet now. We can totally use it. Lower this temperature to 350. We're going to go for 5 more minutes. And then I think we're gonna try to end the stream within the next 15 minutes. I'm going to tap out mentally for a bit. I'm gonna be here with you physically, sipping on my smoothie, but I have some texts to attend to. For example, Aaron just tagged me in a Fred video. So if you miss Fred, you should maybe go check out Aaron's Instagram. Ready. He's smiling at all of you. Bye, Siobhan. Have a great class. Hope to learn from you all the teachings of your class. I forgot to do something, guys. It's very crucial, actually. For baking a pie dough, you have to lift off the beans. Why am I not thinking? All right, we're gonna lift off those beans. Very hot. You gotta be very careful with the bean transfer. So let's get it as close as possible since we got so many tiny little beans. Lifting the four corners. Bam. And now you put this back in the oven so the bottom crust can actually bake. Is lying only the stupidest shit to autistic people? I mean, lying is the stupidest shit to my brain, so if that's the case, I guess I'm definitely on the spectrum somewhere. I have great disdain for it. I don't know if it's stupid to me. I can see why people use it as a tactic and a tool to get what they want. But, ooh. I'm also not a fan of white lies, but I can see why it's considered courtesy to participate in it. Hello, California. talking with the tax accountant about tax striking. It's all very interesting, y'all. Did y'all know about how Starbucks became a bank through their like gift cardy account things? Basically, people open up Starbucks accounts and put money in there so that it works almost like a debit account, but Starbucks then holds on to all of your money and they can invest it however they want while they have your money. Insane. All right, I have to go. Hiccups and gastrointestinal discomfort is kicking in, but we have apple crisp-ish. I think it's gonna taste pretty good. It looks very juicy and bubbly. If you can see that, it's bubbling, it's syrupy. I like it, but my body is telling me to go offline. So I'm gonna go offline. Pie crust feels not as buttery as one might prefer, but that's probably good, right? Thanks for joining me for over 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon. And I hope that you continue to take your vitamins in all the forms. Wink, wink. Thank you for the lovely poster hanging. Bye.